Hey guys, welcome back to the garage. In this video we're going to be cleaning and testing some injectors. I bought a new fuel injector tester, which I'm sure a lot of people have used this one before. It's an Autool CT160. Honestly, if I would have known this before, I probably would have bought the CT150. The reason I got this one is in the picture it looked like it might have been a little better, but what I found the differences are this is only 100 milliliters and the other one is 140, and when you're doing like motorsport injectors, that kind of, the 100 milliliters here can fill up pretty fast. So, and I've heard these things aren't very accurate and stuff like that, but what I'm going to be doing today is trying to modify this one with putting a new fuel pump in it. This is the fuel pump that I'm going to be putting in it, and this is a WALBRO 255 that was in one of my cars, and we're going to try and stick it in here. I've seen videos of people doing it to like the 200s and stuff, but because this is a smaller unit, I'm not sure if this actual pump will fit. But what comes in this kit here is the bottom plate for it, the injector connectors, and then some universal injector connectors and a bunch of fittings to squish the injectors in the rail here. I did put a K-tune fuel pressure regulator on it because the one they sent me was broken and I didn't really trust it. For cleaning solutions, I have the ultrasonic cleaning solution for the ultrasonic tank. And the ultrasonic tank also has heating and then the cleaning switch. And a lot of people buy, you know, just use pretty much whatever for the fluid, but I decided to spend a little extra. I think this was like 70 bucks for a gallon or something crazy. But I actually got the fuel injector tester fluid just to, you know, try and do this right. So I'm going to start by taking the back of the plate off here, which is just seems to be possibly this screw here, these screws, and the ones on this side. I don't know if there's any on the bottom, and the ones down here probably just these ones. I might not even need to do these side ones, but I'm gonna pop this cover off and then we'll see what's inside here and see if I can put this pump in there. Alright, well, I don't know if you can see in there, but the tank is really tucked in there, and this tank here is glued in. You can see some of the glue smeared in, so I can't like pop this tank up. It looks like the pump might fit, but I'm undecided if I want to take this apart or just try it the way it is. But I'm gonna fiddle around with it and then I'll let you know what I decide. Okay, so I got this thing pretty torn apart. I had to take all the screws out of this side, and then there's 3 screws on the other side here that you have to take off, and this comes out, and I kind of just laid it up, laid it over here, and just be careful because there's wires still connected and stuff. And there's 4 screws that hold this pump in, and this is the connector for it, and you can slide this out. Now to get this off, you need to gently pry with a screwdriver and pop this off, and then we should be able to slide this out, and I'm probably gonna have to cut this clamp off. Probably just going to do that right now. Okay. Pop that back on. Oop. Slide this on. Moment of truth. Will it fit? Hey, she fits. Okay. Tighten this clamp up. We'll put it all back together. I also didn't really mention the reason for doing this is because when you test the motor, like pretty much any of the injectors on these, but especially motorsport injectors, I guess the fuel pressure on this thing will just, you'll have it set at safe, you know, 45. It will just, when the injectors are pulsing, the pump can't keep up with it, and the fuel pressure is all over the place. So I'm hoping that this is going to be able to keep up to be able to run all 4 at once. If not, we'll try 2. And if it comes down to it, this has plugs in it to where you can do 1 injector at once. And if I want to try and do a test here, which I'll explain later about how to get the correct to check the CC. If that doesn't work later on down the road, I'll buy like a 500 milliliter graduated cylinder and just do 1 injector at a time and just hold it over it. But now I got this bolted on, so basically it's just the reverse process of setting this all back up, pulling the tube back through, and bolting the side back on. So I'm just going to do that because it's pretty self-explanatory, and then we'll start back with setting up my dirty injectors that I have in here and see what we have. Alright, well, I got this all back together now. So now I'm going to try and fill it with some of the fluid. This is the drain. So it's the stop and then the drain. You fill it up through here with the funnel. And this is your level. I'll try and shine a light in there because this fluid is clear. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. Oh, shit. Okay, so that took almost a half a gallon. I would show you the level, but I can barely see it. But it's pretty much at the max right now, so it's off to the side. And then we'll close that. Now I'm going to try and fit my fuel injectors in there. What you do is there's a plate that you put the plate down, and then you sandwich your injector. Well, I may not be able to use the plate actually. Let's see. I can get it back out of here. Yeah, I can use the plate. So set it in there, and basically you set this on top, take all your plugs out, and you just need to find the correct fittings for in here and your height, basically. Or my girlfriend always kills me for that because I say your height with different fittings and adapters. So I'm gonna figure out my arrangement, and then I'll show you what I have. We'll plug this baby in, we'll hook these connectors up, the injector connectors, and these plug into this plug right here, and then we'll turn this baby on and see what she does. Well, I got the injectors all put in. Now you just need to take this piece and slide it over the hose, and then put the hose on here and tighten it back down. Alright, so now I have it plugged in. We will try and test this out. Also, I don't know if anybody has noticed in the picture here, but I do have a new camera. So hopefully all of this comes out good and the sound is decent. I just, I ended up getting a GoPro. And I used to use my cell phone, so hopefully this stuff looks good. If there's any issues, let me know down in the comments. But so now we'll turn this baby on. Sounded like the fuel pump turned on for a second. And you get a bunch of settings down here. There's ultrasonic idle speed, medium speed, high speed, accelerating test, the variable, leakage, idle spray, medium, and high spray volume. I think the ones we're going to be trying, I'm going to try the leakage test first, and then we'll try the accelerating test. And then if all this works out, maybe we can try the high spray volume to try and fill these in a certain amount of seconds. So I just need to, this is how you adjust the fuel pressure. And so basically we're going to go down, leakage test, maybe this is just the time, 5 minutes, 1 minute. So let's just hit play and see what happens. It might leak here, so maybe I'll stand you back just in case it leaks, because these fittings and this is different. So let's see. All right, get you back in here. Seems to be holding. There is pressure in there, and there is about, it says like 50 something. This gauge I have in there, I know reads 5 pounds off. So I'm going to set it at 50, and that should be around 45. Oop, gotta hit stop. We got a leaker. Alright, let's try this again. It might still leak. I didn't really do very much, but we're gonna try it with some flow behind her, or the injectors on, instead of just deadheading it at 60 something pounds. Yeah, let's try this idle speed for right now, and I'm going to set the pressure. Alright, stop it. So they're all pretty uneven. We'll drain this, and I'm going to try the accelerating test now. Seconds, we'll try 4, and then I'll times that number by 4, and then times that number by 4, and see if that works. I don't think that's how that works, because they're about 20, and then 20 times 4 is 80. Oh, maybe, and then 80 times 4 is 320, and then 320 times... Yeah. I think I'm doing this right. Let's see. So we have about 20 in there, so 20 times 4 is 80. And then you times that by 4 is 320. So normally if you ran this for 15 seconds, I think it should fill up 320, one of them. And then you times that by 4 is about 1280, which these are about 1200-ish on 43 pounds, and they're really marketed as 1300 cc injectors, and that's at 50 pounds. And I have it set at 50 on the gauge, but again, that's about 45 I found out. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys can tell that some of them are down. Like this one's 18, this one's 20, this one's 18. But I did have problems with these injectors, like sticking and not running good. So I'm gonna just do a couple more tests and mess arounds with these, and then I'm gonna put them back into the basket back here, which you get a basket to set the injectors in, and then I'm gonna pour some of this fluid in, and we'll heat it up and then clean them and then run this test again. So I'm gonna do a few more mess arounds with this on the high and the accelerating, just to get familiar with the machine, and then I'll set them up in the basket and show you that and do a little cleaning, and then I'll set them back up in here and run them and see if it does anything. Oh, one more thing before we go. I did notice when I did the high-speed volume test that the pressure was not at 50, so let's try it again at that 50. It's about 20, 18, 20, 20 or 18. And just for reference, you can check out the fuel pressure here. Just run it one more time. Stays pretty solid there, so I'd say the 255 pump upgrade did pretty good. So I'm just gonna mess with this again, like I said, and then we'll clean them. Alrighty, so I messed around with this a little more, and I did like a high speed test, and I feel like the high speed test might be actually what you're supposed to do to check the CCs, but I did it again, and some of them were uneven. So like these two were similar and these two were similar, but they were all kind of off. So I did place them in there in the corresponding spots so we can try and check. I got the heater switch on right now, and what you do is you set this to ultrasonic, and you can pick your time, and when you hit play, I'll hit play and you can hear the injectors turn on and off. Just pulses them, and then when you turn on this switch here, it starts to agitate the fluid. But I'm just going to let this sit here and clean for the 15 minutes. You know, when you turn this on, it does a 10, but I figured I would do 15. And then once I'm done with them, I'm going to take them out and probably turn this on again to have them try and spray some of the fluid out. And I honestly may even take the injector while it's clicking like that and spray a little brake clean in there, because I've watched some videos of the solution, the cleaning solution you have, contaminate the flow tank that you have, and I don't really want to do that. It doesn't really matter, but also I'm going to have this stuff in the description down below if you want to pick up any of this stuff. I got this off Jungle website, got this off Evil Bays, and I got this thing off Walmart on a Black Friday special. It was like $2.30, maybe around, I think it was like $2.30 for like a Black Friday special. So we'll let them clean up and then we'll check them out. So I got them all set back up here. So guess just for the heck of it, I'll try the accelerating test, because I did turn the, well, actually I'm going to do the high speed. Yeah, I'll do the accelerating, doesn't matter. Because the way I basically bled the fluid, the pressure off, was started it on one of these tests, like high speed, or I can't remember, it doesn't really matter, but you started on it and then you just turn this all the way down to the gauge says 0, and then you shut it off. So let's try this now. So it does kind of pulse on this setting, I did notice. So when it's on the like full speed, it's pretty steady. I only get like a piece of styrofoam in it, but these two are the same and these two are about the same. It's like 38, 34, 38, 34, so maybe they're still fucked up and they need to be cleaned more. Also, you can change the filters in the injectors. I meant to mention that. And I found a company online that sells them, because I think these are EV14s, but because the filter is in this hat and not the injector itself, they might just be regular filters. So I got some of those from Amazon also, and I'll put all that. It comes with a tool also to replace them, which is very easy to do. There's plenty of videos out there. It's literally just like screwing the tool in, and it screws like a screw type thing into the filter, and then you just pull it out, and then you replace it with a brass punch, they say, like a small little punch, or sorry, hammer, and you just tap it in. Or you can just buy new top hats basically, and they'll come with filters too. Some people also just fully remove them, but I'm going to now drain this and we'll try the high speed test and see what happens. So again, that is about 20, 18, 20, 18. So I think that they can be off, 2 to 3%, they say. So I'm gonna mess around with this and do some more like testing with it, and then I'll show you like a result that I find, and then I may end up running them through the cleaner again, or I may change the filters, because I did get some today and then I do have some coming. Alrighty, well, I've been messing around with this for a while, running all four, and pretty much have just come down to doing one, because I get the the most stable fuel pressure with that at 50. And I also found out that I was doing this test wrong. You do want high spray volume because you can't adjust anything but the time. And to really get this full CC of your injector, what you do is you're supposed to test it at, for some reason I thought it was 15 seconds, and I was trying to split that up in 4s and do 4 seconds, even though it's 3.75. But really you need to test them at 1 minute. So what you need to do is, I can't run them for a minute because I don't have enough volume, so run them at 15 seconds. And when I do this one, it comes out to 76. And when you do the math on that, well, we'll run it and then I'll show you. Okay, so that is, if you can see, is at, I don't know if you can tell, but it's about 75, 74 this time. It sometimes will spit out stuff out here because they have little holes in here. I think it's like for ventilation, so it doesn't pressurize the tube when you're filling it up with water. So there's a little like leakage here, but so we will get the calculator out here, if I can click it. So 74 times 4, which would be 1 minute, is 296, and then he times that by 4 is 1184. And when I was getting 76 a bunch of times, so we'll do that, is 1216. And these fuel injectors at 43.5 are supposed to flow 1215 cc. So I'm going to mess around with these a little more because I have 74, 80, 70, and I think this was like 72 or something I ran, but this one did 70 a couple of times, and this one did, I think it did 80 twice. So what I'm going to try now is I'm going to take these caps off on a couple of them and run them with no cap and see if any of this changes, and if it does, then that means I need to change these filters too. So I just wanted to take a second to, I decided to replace these filters. I bought some off of Amazon, and I do have some coming for EV14 style, so technically you could put a filter right in there, and you wouldn't need to have the filter in here. Like this one doesn't have the filter. And then this one has a filter inside of it. But what you do is, you can do it off like this, and just push them straight through and then slide them in and then slightly tapping them. I've just been using a regular hammer. You're really just barely tapping to put it in. Or you can use this tool, which I got both of these off Amazon, the filters and these. But you basically just take this. Oop, I jammed it down too hard in that one. The other ones I've just been screwing it. And then you take the tool, and it's kind of like its own puller. And it's supposed to pull the filter out like that. And then you screw it back out, and then you can just pull it off with your fingers. And to put the new one in, just because I can tap this on the wood, you don't want to put the injector down and tap it. You either want to support it here, or possibly I've did it by supporting it in the vise and this portion of the bottom hat, I guess you could call it. So we'll do it on this one, so I could do it right here on the table. So you just take it, press it in, and then just This one's a little harder than the other ones. And then you just tap it down until it's flush. Installed. So I'm going to do the rest of these and then flow test them. I still feel like I need to possibly try and clean one of these more, because I just changed both of these filters and then retested them, and this one does 80 and this one does about like 70, 72 or so. So I'm not sure. Maybe they're fine, maybe they're not. But I'm also thinking about taking the other set out of my car because they need to be clean and testing those. And if maybe taking some of those and matching them, because if they match up better, like if some of those are doing 80 and some of those are only doing 75, then I'll mix match those two to make a better flowing set. But I'm going to change all these and get them all back, and then we'll try and flow them again, and then I'll drain this system, and it should wrap this up. Alrighty, well, I had filmed an outro for this, but then I did a bunch of more testing. I have one set in here, and then I have another set cleaning right now, which I'll stop this for a second just so I can talk to you guys. But this was the first set that we were testing that I wrote some things down that I was getting some missed readings, like 72, 68, 76, 80, and 70-ish, but I was doing that on this high spray volume, which I thought that's what you would want, but I guess you want to do it on the high speed test, because that is actually testing the injector. This is just to watch the spray pattern, I guess, from what I read on the Autool website. But basically, after I did a bunch of testing, well, let me start with, originally when I was testing these, I used this injector tester fluid, but I have been cleaning them with this Berryman's B12, which seems to be doing much better than the ultrasonic cleaner, because the ultrasonic cleaner looks like bleach and soap together, and I don't have to worry about it contaminating the fuel injector test liquid. But when I did test these, or like flow these injectors with Berryman's in the testing side, and I honestly think that might have helped clean these injectors out, because I tested all these and they're all testing pretty even. I have them written down. This one's 88, 82, 82, and 82, so they're pretty balanced. This one's a little bit too high, but I'm gonna monitor that in the car. But I think flowing the Berryman's through the injector really helped to clean it out, because I flushed it out of it, like I'd put it in here and it was really black in there, and I couldn't tell if it was from the injectors that are in there now or if it was from the old stuff. But I had like let it sit overnight, and a bunch of sediment, all the sediment went to the bottom, and I cleaned it all out, and yeah, so I really think I got a bunch of crap out of the injectors is what I'm getting at. But really, I think what I'm going to do with these is they are cleaning again, and this might be the third time, and I'm going to retest them. And I was getting numbers like this, 80, 80, and 74, so those are kind of close. So it may not get any better, but I think what I'm going to do is to retest these with the fluid, the ones that are in the tank now, and if that doesn't change from these numbers, I might drain it out and put some clean Berryman's in the test tank and flow it through with that, and then see if it changes at all, and maybe go back to that. But these really aren't too terribly off. I would really like them to be how these ones are, 80, 80, and 82, but so I think this is kind of working. Yeah, this should wrap this up, you know. And I already did an ending for this, but I decided to re-explain this. One other thing that I don't know if I explained in the video, but I've been setting them all four up like this, and then plugging them in one at a time and running that, because the fuel pressure is more stable there. It's more accurate. Feel like I'm getting more accurate readings from it. I did try and take it apart and run straight power to the fuel pump because I felt like it was, it shouldn't be bouncing that much, but the way it regulates the pressure on this machine is through the voltage. So it really sometimes will only see like 5 volts on the pump. So it's really not that accurate, I guess. And think down the future, I might try and add an external regulator to this thing and have it feed back to the tank so I can run like it on the battery charger at 10 amps at full, full tilt like it would be in the car, and then test them. But for right now, they seem to be okay. I'm going to stick them back into the car and see if it misfires and runs like crap like it was before under a load. Alrighty, well, it's been a few days since the last clip I took. I actually made a few endings for this video and then kept doing testing afterwards to find out that what I was getting results from these injectors to these injectors was totally different, and now some of these are actually mix matched per sets because I've got them flown alright. I was doing them with all 4 in, and then I tried them with 1 how I had them and was switching them out, and then thought that all 4 was probably better, and I would just do them 1 at a time, like run 1 and then unplug it, plug this one in and run that one. And I thought I was getting pretty consistent numbers. I even made a bunch of notes on the injectors and their on the numbers basically for the injectors. I have another page here for like before and after. And I also was trying to determine, at first I thought it was spray volume because you want to test the volume of the injector, and I was getting really inconsistent numbers. So then I tested high speed and I was getting pretty even numbers and like more to like what the injector should be flowing at. So I had thought that that was what I should be doing, is testing them on the high speed, but really you want to test them on the volume. The volume is what you're testing because you're testing the volume that it sprays out, which makes sense. So I ended up putting them all back in a bunch of times and doing them like 1 at a time with 4 injectors in there, and kind of would get inconsistent numbers. And what I found is the way I have it set up right now with just 1. And this one, just for testing, I took the top hat out because this one isn't flowing very well. I think something's wrong with it. I took the top hat out even though I changed the filter just to test to see, and it still pretty much is giving me the same number. But I just have this support on here just so it's kind of even. But I tested all these injectors and I got 74s out of all of them except one of them is a 72, which that is about 2 to 3% variance, which is okay. So I'm going to stick these ones back in my car and hopefully I can actually drive it because it was misfiring under load between 2,000 and 3,000 RPMs. Really even past that, but once I got past that it would kind of clean up, but it was running like crap really. Once I put the 93 back in, for some reason on the E85 it seemed to be okay, but I'd only get like a miss every once in a while. I think maybe because I don't know, maybe because I'm spraying more fuel to begin with. I really am not sure. We'll see if this actually fixes my problem or if I've got bad gas from a gas station. But anyways, so I've been flowing them to get consistent numbers. I've been flowing them all in the same cylinder, or basically cylinder. So in case this thing doesn't have the even holes in it or something, I figured just to every single thing consistent. Same thing, kind of trying to get the pressure around the same. And I run them for 15 seconds on high volume. And then I'm pretty sure what you're supposed to do to get these numbers is it's supposed to be for a minute. So you basically times this by 4 and then times it by 4 again. And that will get you your CCs that you have. So overall, I think that this machine is okay. I am going to send out this other set that has kind of lower flowing injectors, and they're a little bit more mix matched. Especially this one I have in the machine is only flowing like a 60, as to where the other ones are. One's a 66, the other one's a 70 I have written down, and a 68. So I'm going to send these out to confirm, hopefully, that the machine is fucked up. Or, sorry, that the injectors are fucked up and not messed, or, yeah, that they're messed up. And also to try and back to see if this machine is actually somewhat accurate. I'm going to jot down all the numbers on the side of the injectors, like the numbers right here. So when they come back, I can reference them to my notes and see what happens and see if I need to buy a new injector or a whole set of injectors probably. But yeah, I think this machine might be worth it, especially if I put these other injectors back in and my car drives much better. I think it's going to be better. Also, another thing I found is using this Berryman's B12 to clean the injectors over this ultrasonic cleaning fluid that is yellow. It smells like bleach and is like soap and can contaminate the fuel injector fluid as to where this doesn't contaminate it. And I found the ultrasonic tank does kind of do something, but really if you want to clean the injectors out, pour this into the test side of it, like 2 bottles of these. I got the truck ones because they're bigger. 2 of them seem to fill it up about halfway, and I've run them through the injectors a bunch and then drain this stuff out of here all the way, like tipping the machine over, make sure you get it all out. And this stuff is got super black speckles in it, so I think flowing them through it really helps. What you also can do is set this up to backflow them. So the CT160 actually has like a backflow setting on here as to where this doesn't. I think like one of these settings, like the variable speed test, is like a back flushing that they do, but you can just turn it on any one of these and back flush them if you want it. I tried it on all of these and it didn't really seem to make a difference, but I think what made the difference is running this stuff through the injector itself. So I think that's really going to wrap this up. And then I finally got the 3rd time of making this ending or closing this video. I finally feel more confident about my results that I have on here. So if you're interested in getting one of these machines, I would recommend purchasing the 150 because it's the same exact price. You get 140 milliliter cylinders instead of 100, so you can test the injectors probably for a little bit longer, and you also don't have to worry about backsplash coming out of here. Sometimes I'd have to put my fingers up because there'd be little speckles coming out of there. But yeah, so I am going to actually be working on this car soon, probably tomorrow. I may make another video on my other car, my new daily I'm going to be doing. I have to wash it and clean the inside to get all the rat poop out of it, and I got to put a water pump on it. So I might make a video of that. I might not. I might just introduce it after I put the water pump on because it's kind of boring to watch. But once I do either one of those, well, I'm going to make a video and we'll put it out there. So keep an eye out for that. And if you're subscribed, appreciate you very much and hope to catch you for the next video.